A partner does not always come into a man's life to stay forever. Sometimes she enters to awaken something that has been asleep for years. Not comfort, not romance alone, but consciousness. And when a woman carries depth, self-awareness, emotional maturity, and inner alignment, her presence can quietly trigger a masculine awakening in a man without her ever trying to change him. This awakening does not begin with inspiration. It begins with discomfort. A man starts feeling restless around her, not because she is doing something wrong, but because her way of being reflects everything he has been avoiding within himself. Her discipline mirrors his lack of direction. Her emotional clarity exposes his suppression. Her calm highlights his inner chaos. And suddenly, being with her forces him to look at parts of himself he has survived years by ignoring. This is often misunderstood as conflict, incompatibility, or emotional distance. But what is actually happening is internal confrontation. A high-presence woman does not need to demand growth. Her standards alone become the trigger. There are specific moments when this masculine awakening activates. It often begins when the woman stops over-explaining herself, when she no longer chases reassurance, when she expresses needs clearly without emotional collapse. This kind of grounded communication makes a man aware of how much emotional labor she carries effortlessly, and how little he may be offering in return. The imbalance becomes impossible to unsee. Another moment is when she chooses herself without guilt, when she prioritizes her purpose, her health, her peace, and her growth without asking permission or seeking validation. This creates a powerful internal reaction. Some men rise to meet it, others feel threatened by it. But either way, the awakening has begun. Masculine awakening is not triggered by control or pressure. It is triggered by contrast. A woman who respects herself deeply becomes a mirror. Not a mirror that accuses, but one that reflects. And reflection is uncomfortable when a man has been operating on autopilot. He starts questioning his ambition, his emotional availability, his patterns, his integrity. He may not say it out loud, but internally, something starts shifting. In some cases, this awakening shows up as withdrawal. A man becomes quieter, distant, or confused. He may say he needs space. This is not always rejection. Often, it is processing. Awakening challenges identity, and identity resists change before it accepts it. In other cases, it shows up as defensiveness. He may criticize her independence, call her too much, or label her boundaries as cold. This is the ego-resisting exposure. Growth threatens the version of him that has survived without accountability. And then there are cases where the awakening turns into motivation. He begins improving himself. He becomes more intentional, more emotionally present, more driven. This is the masculine rising to meet the level of truth she carries. But it is important to understand something clearly. Awakening does not guarantee alignment. A woman can trigger awakening and still not be the one a man chooses to grow with. Some men awaken and walk away because growth requires responsibility, and not every man is ready to live at the level his awakening demands. This is where many women misunderstand their role. You were never meant to stay and wait for someone to become ready. Your role was not to teach, fix, or sacrifice yourself for their evolution. If your presence triggered awakening, the purpose was fulfilled the moment truth surfaced within them. What happens after that is their choice. This is why some men return years later, changed, aware, and grounded, acknowledging the impact you had on their life long after the connection ended. They may say they didn't understand it at the time, but being with you changed the trajectory of how they see relationships, responsibility, and themselves. That is the power of conscious partnership energy. It is quiet, it is activating, and it is often misunderstood while it is happening. If you recognize yourself in this role, it does not mean you are meant to be alone. It means you are meant to be aligned. Depth calls depth, presence calls presence, and the right partner will not feel threatened by your growth. He will be activated by it in a way that brings stability, not confusion. If this message resonates and you want to stay connected to conversations like this, subscribe to the channel so these deeper perspectives continue to reach those who are ready to hear them. And if you feel drawn to surrounding yourself with reminders of who you are becoming, you can explore meaningful products at chosenbeing.com, created to support identity, awareness, and inner alignment. For those who wish to support this work and help it reach more people navigating growth and awakening, A donation link is available in the bio. Your support helps keep these conversations alive and accessible. Sometimes a partner enters your life not to stay forever, but to awaken something irreversible. Once that awakening happens, nothing returns to sleep the same way again.